Hello to the Women's Voices Now community. My name is Heidi Bash-Harod. I serve as Executive Director of Women's Voices Now, where we use film to drive social change that advances girls' and women's rights globally. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome you to the 10th annual Women's Voices Now Women's Rights Documentary Film Festival. I'm broadcasting live from Redondo Beach, California, in my garage, which is where the magic that I do for Women's Voices Now happens. I am so excited to welcome you to our 10th film festival. The theme for this year's festival is the unintended consequences of our progress. We're going to spend a month looking at 40 plus films from all over the world that are delving into where the women's rights movement is today, which is that women have come very far in their academic, economic, political, social rights pursuit throughout the world. Today, we're in a very different place than we were 40, 50 years ago. But in order to meet this moment of where we are and the progress we have yet to still make, we have to be honest about the issues that have erupted and arisen from the progress that we've made. And the films that we have selected to this festival this year have that conversation and invite us to join them. It is my honor, again, to welcome you to the 10th Women's Voices Now Film Festival. We are so grateful to our very generous sponsors who helped make this program possible: American Eagle Outfitters, the Dudley D. Doherty Foundation, the Lantos Foundation for Human Rights and Justice, Monster Energy Cares, and Sony Entertainment Pictures. We cannot do this program, this International Women's Rights Documentary Film Festival, without you. We're grateful for your support and to help us bring this to audiences all over the world. In a few moments, we're going to hear from our keynote speaker, Fatimah Hossaini. But before that, I would also like to thank our incredibly dedicated jury members, our film previewers, all the volunteers and different people that come together to make this film festival possible. But the person I want to thank the most is also the woman who I'm about to introduce to you to take off this kickoff event from me, and that is Chelsea Byers, our Programs and Partnerships Director of Women's Voices Now. She is the force behind this film festival, organizing the different stakeholders and filmmakers and jury members and previewers and volunteers that bring us to this moment in time today. Chelsea, I'm so excited for you to bring us to the next stage of this film festival, and please take it away.
Thank you, Heidi. Happy Women's History Month, everyone, and thank you for joining the 2024 Women's Voices Now Film Festival. As Heidi said, this year's theme, The Unintended Consequences of Our Progress, helps us illuminate just how far we've come in the struggle for women's rights and what this new threshold of progress has meant in terms of the challenges we now face. We are thrilled to be kicking off this 5-week festival run today alongside photographer and women's rights advocate Fatimah Hossaini, who you will hear from in just a moment. But first, I want to describe what our festival is all about, because it's truly anything from your average film festival. Women's Voices Now hosts a selection of documentary films made by and about women from around the globe. This year, we're really proud to have selected more than 40 films representing countries from around the world, including Afghanistan, Ireland, Syria, Egypt, Israel, France, Iran, Pakistan, Canada, Brazil, Hungary, Turkey, Bangladesh, Costa Rica, India, South Sudan, Netherlands, and more. The stories that focus on women's rights struggles and their stories portray the courageous struggles and victories we as women claim each day in our personal lives. These stories on every scale create scalable change-making opportunities when put in front of a camera and before our eyes. We know the audience we have here at Women's Voices Now is passionate and committed to change, and we know this year's film selection will inspire change and add fuel to the global movement for women's rights. I also want to give a huge shout out to Bijan, our artist in residence, who's been a tremendous force in helping us cultivate this incredible selection of films from around the world. We want to thank the filmmakers for being a part of this, for giving their skills to this work, and for you, the audience, for making these films land into a world where they're received and taken as that fuel we need for change. The audience, are able to watch these films online and on demand starting today through 5-week run ending April 30th. Ticket holders will have access to these films in addition to our online selection of events. We have today's kickoff, we have our awards ceremony, and a panel of industry professionals taking place on April 4th. The awards and cash prizes that we give out to filmmakers are determined by an esteemed panel of judges, as Heidi mentioned. This jury has a background in film and women's rights advocacy, and they help us give out our 8 film awards and over $13,000 in cash prizes. We hope you will join us on April 25th as we give those 8 awards out, as well as our Women Making a Waves award. As Heidi mentioned, this festival would not be possible without the support of our sponsors and donors, and we invite you to join this community. It's our 10th season, and we hope that we will have many more to come with your support. And without further ado, I want to invite Fatimah Hossaini to the stage. She's an Afghan Tehran-born artist and photographer who is based in Paris, France, but joining us from a very different location around the globe today. She's renowned for her captivating work, capturing the essence of beauty amidst conflict. And at this time, it is so important for us as women to illuminate that beauty that can be shown amidst conflict as a way for peacemaking to happen. So Fatimah, thank you for taking the time to join us. We're so excited to hear from you now, and the stage is yours.
Okay. Hello to dear Chelsea and all the festival team and whoever is listening to us. And thank you so much for having me today. It's a great pleasure, and I'm connecting to this great program that was very important for me, and talking about women in the middle of my project about women. I'm going through Silk Road and covering women and their resilience and different stories. And I'm just connecting now from Uzbekistan, and I just arrived in Tashkent today from Bukhara and Samarkand. So the thing is that I'm Fatimah Hossaini, Afghan artist, photographer, and exhibitioner, and founder of Masturat organization based in Kabul. I was born in Iran, and I studied there photography, and my grandparents was exiled during Soviet war in Afghanistan. But as a Tehran-born artist, I was always like struggling with my identity, not just as a woman in my gender, but as my identity as an Afghan. So that's just like, it was a big issue for me that encouraged me to go back to my country, Afghanistan, for the first time in 2013. Since then, I was looking for any opportunities to go back. And since 2018, I was between Tehran and Kabul. And I started my career with teaching at Kabul University in 2018. And it was a time that I just wanted to cover the women of Afghanistan into some other like shapes and forms, not the cliches that the world always see from women of Afghanistan, like this dark image, burqa, victimizing, or this kind of images that media always show. And I didn't want to change the narrative. I didn't ignore the reality of the dark images of a conflict zone. But the thing is that I just went through the story of this hidden beauty in the stories of women in a conflict zone like Afghanistan. So I work on a project like for 4 years, and then my photo book just published last September in France and Italy. And this beauty amid war was my quote to address women in my photos, like their resilience, their beauty, their hope, and their femininity. And unfortunately, in 2021, August 2021 was the darkest of the day, like our Afghan nation. I have been forced to leave home, Afghanistan. Exactly the same story of my grandparents, and I was exiled in France. Now I live in Paris in exile, far from home, but still trying to keep my identity as a woman. And that's why I'm here through the Silk Road to cover and to listen to the other stories of women. I mean, the thing is that through my photography, I just tried to tell the untold stories of women of my country. I mean, the stories that's always covered by the news of war, the news of Taliban, terrorists, like explosions, whatever we hear from Afghanistan by every single hour. But the thing is that for me, the story of women were important because I see that how women in the middle of nothing are still thinking about their beauty, thinking about their femininity and creating beauties. So, mm, like this was the whole concept of my works. But I'm so sad because I couldn't finish my project in Afghanistan, and it stayed unfinished, and I have been forced to leave home. But the thing is that when the form of like this resilience changed for me in exile, I thought that it was also another story against the cliches of victimization of refugee life. That's why I went through the life of women refugees in France and covering some portraits of women in France as well. And that's why I finished my project with those photos. And yeah, my book is out, Beauty and Midwife. But now I'm beyond Afghanistan, and something changed for me, even like in another step. And the thing is that whatever I can say through my story and through the concept of my photos is that how this soft power of art is important, and photography, that to tell these stories and to capture a moment, to create something, to tell these stories through an image, through a film, through a voice, and how it is important also to sometimes not just going through the cliche, but also telling some untold stories, that it can also change the narratives of whatever we have in our mind from the norms of the media or whatever they show us. So that's what's important for me, and it is always important for me, because I was always questioned that this photos are not taken in Afghanistan, or like do you have this? Do you have this? I mean, like all these cliches that we always face in our life. But I just wanted to tell that I didn't go back to Afghanistan to cover the war, to cover the cliche of these stark images, but resilience of women, their beauty, their femininity, that unfortunately now under Taliban regime is completely in a different shape, that it touches my heart. But may my photo project just stay in the history of the world, to mention that one day women of Afghanistan also had the freedom to walk the streets of Kabul with no fear, and laugh like and create colors. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fatima. We're so grateful to hear your story. I will invite Heidi back on to join us in just a moment. And as she does join us, I just want to remind folks that we are in the midst of our film festival and have an opportunity for you to join us. You will be getting a 30% off ticket code today for joining us. Kickoff 30 can get your tickets at the link on the screen. Heidi can take it away.
Hello, everyone. Fatima, thank you so much for sharing about your work and your resilience to tell the stories of women, even when it seems like seems that times are getting darker and darker. To that point, at Women's Voices Now, we are not in this for the short term, we're in this for the long haul. True progress, true fighting for women's equality cannot happen overnight. We're talking about very deep-rooted biases that keep our world from being a gender equal world where all of our potential is fully realized and we're fully utilized for the better of all humanity. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, which is watching really intense films this month and sharing those stories with our friends, our family, our colleagues. We will be sending to all ticket holders recommendations of films every week, ones that particularly touched our hearts, because we can understand that going through 40 films is actually quite challenging, even though you have 5 weeks to watch all of these films. We will guide you through different countries, through different subject matter. If you have purchased your ticket, then you will also have a little presence on our Give Butter page, which you can actually leave comments under where you've left, where you purchase, your name pops up where you purchase your ticket. So if you want to leave a comment there and say, wow, I really was moved by this film, has anyone else watched it? We'll be watching out for those comments and we can help generate the conversation. We're so grateful for everyone who tunes into the festival. Being a filmmaker is not an easy task, especially when you're making independent documentary film. You have the gargantuan task of bringing a vision that you have in your mind out into the world and sharing that vision with other people. And you have to communicate with others in order to take it from your brain into through the lens of a camera and direct other people on how to do that and get people to tell their stories, to be vulnerable with you. So not only are we watching films that are beautifully shot, but the thought that goes into them, the personal resources that are invested in these films. Our filmmakers are some of the most courageous and brave frontline human rights defenders and fighters out there in the world. So when you join our festival, you're not only having a chance to watch the films, but you're also really honoring the blood, sweat, and tears that our filmmakers put into this work. We're so grateful to have you as an audience for Women's Voices Now. We are always accessible. Visit our website, womensvoicesnow.org. You'll find emails to all of the team members there if you have questions about anything. We're with you in the festival run this year. We look forward to bringing to you the industry panel on April 4th. And as Chelsea mentioned, today you have a ticket code of 30% off if you're watching this live from YouTube and you haven't gotten your ticket yet. So please make sure to get your ticket if you don't already have one. Mark your calendar for all the different events, watch those films, join in the conversation. And I personally will look forward to seeing you all on April 25th at our awards ceremony when we get to change filmmakers' lives by awarding them those cash prizes and giving them this platform for recognition and visibility, as well as presenting to the Women Making Waves awardee for this year, who I cannot reveal yet. We will reveal that in the next week or two. I look forward to all of you meeting that very powerful woman, however. So again, I'm Heidi Bash-Harod, Executive Director of Women's Voices Now, where we use film to drive social change that advances girls' and women's rights globally. And we welcome you to the 10th edition of our film festival, The Unintended Consequences of Our Progress, wishing everyone a beautiful rest of the day or night from wherever you are tuning in. And thank you so much for joining us. See you soon.